If white immigrants can come to this country 50 years ago with nickels and dimes and no education, and come here and pool their little nickels and dimes and no education, and set up little stores, develop these stores into larger stores, develop this into an industry which creates job opportunities for whites. Since Lincoln was supposed to have freed the black man 100 years ago, and today the black man, according to the government economist, has spending power of $20 billion per year. We feel that with the black man spending $20 billion a year, not setting up any businesses, not creating any industry, not creating any job opportunities for his own kind, he's not in a moral position to point the finger today at the white man and tell the white man that he's discriminating against him for not giving him a job in factories that he himself set up. If the black man has $20 billion, and these so-called Negro leaders are such geniuses that they can integrate white restaurants and integrate white factories and force themselves into that which the white man has set up, they should use this same ingenuity to show the black people how to pool our wealth and set up something of our own. And then we won't have to force our way into his anymore. One more thing I would like to point out concerning what he said about 125th Street. We don't waste our time on 125th Street, but you can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circles. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man in your mind and make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
That was Malcolm X talking. This was in the 60s. Now, everything that he said pertains to us today. They had $20 billion in spending power back then. So what is our spending power right now? Our spending power is $1.8 trillion. $1.8 trillion. Now, why can't we come together and pool our resources together? Is it past time? Is it past time that we start to do things for ourselves? Past time that we need to start doing things for ourselves. Why is it that we as African Americans continue down the same exact path that they continued down in the 60s? Over 60 years ago, we're talking about the same things. He's essentially talking about DEI right there. He's essentially talking about why you refuse to do it on your own, why you refuse to do it for yourself. That's what he's talking about. That's what Malcolm is speaking on. He's speaking on something that we need to take serious right now on us, that we have to do something. I've been talking about it in my post. There's an economic crash coming. But if we pull together, if we pool our resources right now, if we start and pool our resources right now, we may have a chance to survive this economic disaster that's coming. No, this is not hyperbole, and I'm not trying to swindle you into anything. This is real. There's $9.2 trillion that the government has to figure out how to pay. Right. It has to restructure its debt. And this is why we're going into a recession, because they're trying to force us into a recession. And the reason why is because there's no other choice. There's no other solution but to force us into a recession to bring down the interest rate so the American government can be able to restructure the debt that it has and restructure the payments for, under a low interest rate for the debt that we have accrued over the years. Right. So we have an issue. And that issue could crash us. Imagine right now, on top of that debt that we have to pay, that the Chinese government dumps on the market all of the debt that we owe China. What if the Russians dump onto the market the debt that we owe the Russians? There's a nuclear bomb, an economic nuclear bomb that's possible, right? The only way that I think that we would in any way set off nukes is if they dump these treasuries, these bonds onto the market that we owe them, right? It's a long story and we can talk about it later. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is uniting and pooling resources. There will be meetings starting in April 9th and April 18th, May 9th, May 18th. June 9th is when we start to pool our resources and put our money into one singular account and one singular organization that thrives to help the community and help the people at the bottom. And we will start with businesses that we create so that we can create industry and jobs for the people. And the money goes to the people. Most of these businesses will be cooperatives. Some will be profitable. Some will be for profit. But most of the businesses will be cooperative business structures where all the money goes to the people. Right? So this is my plan. This is what I'm trying to put forth. I know that people are not listening. People have things on their mind. People have bills that they have to pay. People have sick elders. People have people that they have to take care of. You have children that you have to take care of. But if you can just take a time and a moment just to come together on this specific issue, on this thing that we must do to really save the American economy. Yes, to save the American economy. Is it a big undertaking? Absolutely, it's a big undertaking, but we must do it. If we do not do it, if we do not start now, if we do not get organized right now, there's going to be an economic collapse that wipes out the middle class completely. And there's people predicting it, and there's people that's going to be able to profit off of it. There's people that's going to be able to profit off our misery. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is head this whole economic disaster off at the pass. And how do we do that? We have to come together. Pay the dues of $18 a month. We need millions of people to pay the $18 a month dues. I will not have any access to any funds. All right. There will be a checks and balance system that's unmatched so that there will never be a situation where any type of embezzlement can happen. Yes, I have a background. Yes, I do. But I have a background. Does that background mean things and maybe make people think that this is a scam that I'm coming up with? Absolutely. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I do not want to go back to federal prison. I will not go back to federal prison. All right. This is about structuring something for the people. That's all it's about. It's about a movement that we must create. We must create to save the American economy. And people will be like, well, we don't want to help Trump. No, this is not helping Trump. There's nothing that Trump can do, right? Outside of us as American taxpayers and American citizens, outside of us creating a system to pay down the debt and pay it down in a couple of years, that's the only way that we can beat this whole economic disaster that's coming, right? And we're not going to do that, right? So people know we're not going to do that. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to take some of the businesses that's out here right now, that's taking money from people, that's exploiting them in serious ways. Some of these gig economy jobs, we turn those business structures into cooperative business structures. We turn the stuff that we can right now take away from certain industries, certain companies, that we can take away right now from certain companies. Uber, we can take that away. Some of these grocery shopping apps, we can take that away, right? These are the ways that we can come about to save the American economy. Why? Because the money starts to go to the people on the street. Just like Malcolm said, it's about the people on the street. It's not about the high ups. It's not about the bourgeoisie. It's not. It's about the people on the street. The people on the street have to be able to feed themselves and feed their family for this economy to go and to thrive. It's the people at the bottom that churns the economy. We all know this. But time after time, the policy coming from the Fed and from the central banks is to give the money to the top, to the elite, to the banks, to the top. And that's completely decimated our economy. It's decimated our economy. It has completely decimated our economy. So I know this kind of sounds weird. I know it seems like I'm just coming out of nowhere with something that you have no idea about, right? But just do the research. It's readily available. They're not going to talk about it on the news because they want you to believe that Donald Trump crashed the American economy. But there's nothing that Donald Trump can do. This has been a situation since 2001 and 2008 situation with the Fed. And then the COVID money that got spread everywhere and they printed so much money. So it's about that. And if you want to talk about it further, I'm going to present some things. I'm going to talk about it and put a couple of podcasts together to help you understand what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about right now is coming together and uniting. And Malcolm talked about it way back then. They had $20 billion in spending power then. What do we have right now? Over $1 trillion. Over $1 trillion. The African American community has over $1 trillion of spending power. Yearly over $1 trillion. We have to be able to take a small part of those resources and bring everything together. I have a plan. And if you don't like my plan, what we can do is we can restructure the plan. We can get some real economists. We can get some real business savvy people to come in and help us create a plan that's going to help save the American economy. Yes, I'm back in a different form. Yeah, I told people before. I was in the movement before, and I had started this podcast to talk about this issue, to bring us together, to talk. This whole time and this whole situation was to bring us together as a people. But it's going to take more than just African American community. It's going to take everybody. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the Black community when we bring business together, and we're going to focus on cleaning up the Black community and stopping the violence in the Black community. We're going to do things like serve the community and help with the reading problem. These are the things that we're going to do. We're going to change completely the way we see the Black community. It's time to stop right now and concentrate on the Black community. It is our generation that must do it so we can leave a legacy for our children. It's time for us to pull together, to show the kids that we can do it. Yes, it's time. And if we continue to wait and put it off, it's going to be too late. I'm telling you right now, the time is now to pull together the resources and create industry for ourselves. Stop begging, stop pleading, because you're not going to get it from them. You're going to get it from yourself. By building it yourself, that's the only way that you're going to get it, is to build it yourself and do it yourself. It's the only way. If you don't believe what I'm saying, just do a little bit of research on the amount of money that's coming due in 2025. Just a little bit of research, and it'll take you to where you need to go. But I've been looking at this for the last 2.5 years, and I've been trying to put it together a plan of action. Stop talking. A plan of action. We don't need to talk. A plan of action that we can all come together on, agree on, and make it work. And we need to start today, not tomorrow, today. Today. This is Jimmy Hitchcock on the Post Podcast.